So ESPN's Jordan Raanan, during an appearance on 98.7 ESPN Radio, said that the Giants will not tag Saquon Barkley for a second time, adding, quote, "It seems like this is headed for Barkley to hit free agency." Now, remember last year, the Saquon Barkley Giants situation, contract dispute, ultimately ended up the Giants franchise tagging him, Saquon threatening to sit out, and on day one of training camp, right back in the building training. Now, the franchise tag went up from, 10.9, I believe, to 11.3. So it's not a huge increase, but it is an increase nonetheless. And this ESPN reporter is saying that, nope, the Giants are looking to not tag Saquon, and he will hit free agency. I want to know, how much will the Giants regret not retaining Saquon for the 2024-2025 NFL season?
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he won't be back with the Giants. He said he wanted to be a Giant for life. I don't think they're going to franchise tag him because I think they think that he probably doesn't command that salary. So I think they let him go free agent and they watch what happens, and maybe they jump in and bring him back on a free agent deal.
You let him walk and then sign him back.
But then sign him back.
What's
on a
the
free
point of
agent
that
deal.
then? Just to prove to him you're
cheaper.
not worth nothing?
You get him cheaper.
I think this is a massive mistake. If they're really not going to tag Saquon Barkley, then I think this is a huge mistake for the Giants. And I brought the numbers before. The production that Daniel Jones had when both of them were healthy playing at the same time is that Saquon Barkley's impact on the Giants offense was incredible. That 2022 season, you look at when the Giants rushed for 100 or more yards, the numbers for just Daniel Jones was very, very significant. We're talking like 74% completion percentage to 72. Passing yards was up like 120 more. Passer rating was up like 30 points. So to have Saquon out there running it effectively helps out Daniel Jones, helps the passing game, helps the entire offense. If you're going to let a guy walk who was literally your offense 2 years ago, that's a massive mistake. Now, this season, it was an entire mess, a tire fire. Waller was supposed to be an answer for the offensive side. Lo and behold, he gets hurt again. You also had Daniel Jones, neck injury, ACL tear. He's out for the year. Tyrod Taylor's quarterback. Nope. Tommy DeVito is. Oh, no, we're back to Tyrod Taylor again. Evan Neal, he was a mess this year. Andrew Thomas dealing with injuries. He had injuries all over. So this season, while Saquon didn't have the greatest season, he had actually one of the worst seasons he had. I just think the Giants were a tire fire this year, as expected, because last year I said it. It's an anomaly. People were saying, oh, Daniel Jones, top 10 quarterback. Not in a billion years was Daniel Jones, or will Daniel Jones ever be a top 10 quarterback. So to have that type of a running back on the free agent market, I think shows that, I don't know if they're going for another rebuild, but they may be headed that way. Also because the Giants haven't given up on Daniel Jones. And I saw something recently where they said that he's probably the week one starter.
Yeah.
What?
I think so.
What?
Who else would they start?
Draft the damn quarterback. That's what I would do. You have the 6th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So if the mock drafts are correct and we go in order, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels to the Bears, Commanders, Patriots. That means you have the opportunity to go get Penix, you have J.J. McCarthy, and you also have Bo Nix. So that means you have.
So they probably will draft a quarterback.
You can get Neighbors as well.
No, you got Tommy DeVito.
Oh God! I mean, he had flashes, but then the last game
people
he played
love him too.
Against the Eagles, it didn't look too good. You bring in Tyrod Taylor, he almost makes a tremendous comeback. But we have 76 days until the draft. If the Giants want to stick with Daniel Jones, full respect, they're idiots. Because what is Daniel Jones regressed after getting paid? You gave him a contract that made no sense. The best player in your team, basically, you made him resent you because you didn't pay him the money he was deserving. And now all of a sudden you're saying, yeah, we're going to get rid of him. Like, this is why New York sports suck. The Jets have been sucking for years. They have the longest playoff drought in the 4 major sports. The Giants haven't been relevant since like 2016. I think that was the last time they made the playoffs. So, and besides the Bills, the Bills are like they were bad for a number of years, found some stability with Josh Allen, and still are pretty disappointing in the playoffs. So I'm saying that it's not a good look for the Giants. I feel bad for Saquon Barkley because he is that offense, and I think Joe Shane and that entire organization is making a massive mistake. They already made it with the contract. How about pay the damn dude?
Well,
pay him $12 million a year.
Yeah, well,
you might be right. It's $700,000 higher than the franchise tag.
I mean, he has been a good performer for them when he's been healthy. I think that they risk, if they let him go free agency, thinking that the price tag's going to drop, I'm pretty sure he's going to wind up in Dallas.
I'm going to say the Chargers because that's the report. Jim Harbaugh, thinking about what Jim Harbaugh's offense was in Michigan this year. Hard, heavy-nosed defense and ground and pound. Blake Corum was a massive factor in the national championship game.
They're probably going to draft him.
I'm thinking they may draft him, but reportedly the eyes are on Saquon Barkley. And if you can get Saquon behind that offensive line with that quarterback and with those weapons, that's going to be a top 7 offense in the league, top 6-7 offense in the league. And then on top of that, better coaching on defense. I'm telling you right now.
In Dallas. Dallas knows they need another running back, and I think Saquon is going to be the best free agent one out there.
I think Dallas can go for a bigger name. I was going to say Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Or if we're talking more of the ground and pound, I think Derrick Henry fits that mold better because he's a massive guy. So I think maybe Derrick Henry can go to the Chargers if they're willing to pay him. But the Chargers with salary cap issues, they have like the 3rd or 4th worst salary cap situation in the NFL.
I would say Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley either at Chargers or Dallas. Those two running backs will be with one of those 2 teams.
They're not going to re-sign with their teams. Tell you that right now. I don't think it's a chance. Unless the Giants decide to pay them and says, you know what, we'll pay you $12, $13 million a year. Then I'll be like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. Other than that, if they're saying, we're only open to franchise tagging you or re-signing you with the cheap in free agency, I say Saquon, go to any other team. Even if they pay you the same, go to any other team.
I wouldn't say it's impossible that the Giants put the franchise tag on him because Raanan, he said, based on what I've seen and heard publicly. Well, where else did we hear that publicly? I didn't hear anything about it publicly except from him.
What? That
Saquon
won't be
tagged? He said he didn't say he heard that in a private source. So where else did we see that publicly? I didn't see it publicly, just from him. So I think it's just hype.
You think it's hype?
I think there's a lot of hype to
BS
it. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't franchise tag him because I think they would try to see if they could pick him up cheaper in free agency. But I think there's some hype to that this guy, out there.
And what that would be to make Giants Nation angry at ownership, to pressure them to
just to get some just get something
or
out
get
there
the
in the media. It's just to get people like us talking about it.
Hey, I'm completely open to talking about this because if this is the case and this Jordan Raanan guy, if I'm even pronouncing his name right, if he is serious, if he's heard this from somebody, then somebody who knows the situation, it's not gonna be pretty for the Giants because unless they go out and draft a running back and he hits, day one basically, it's gonna be Daniel Jones and having him throw the ball, and that's ugly, especially with that offensive line and those weapons. That is an ugly situation. So if this is true and they're gonna let Saquon go,
to see where
it's not gonna be good.
Where Barkley winds up and where
Derrick Henry
winds up, right?
Yeah.
I could see Derrick Henry going to a number of different teams.
Absolutely. I think he's going to have a massive market.
Yeah.
I also think if Saquon hits the open market, he will too. I say at least half the league will call both of those running backs and figure out, what their futures look like.
What kind of money do you think Derrick Henry would command?
I don't know if SpotRack gave out the market value of some of these players, but if I had to take a guess, Derrick Henry, who currently, I'm going to look up how old he is. Saquon right now is 27 years old. Today is his birthday, actually. So happy birthday to Saquon Barkley. Derrick Henry is currently, if I'm not mistaken, he's 30 years old. So he's on the older side. He's made it farther than a decent amount of running backs have made it, especially, with contract issues and everything like that. I think if he's a 30-year-old running back, I could probably see him signing a 2-year, $16 million contract, so $8 million a year.
Really? That cheap?
That cheap. He's 30 years old. He's 30 years old.
He's been one of the elite running backs, and he's durable. I don't think he wasn't hurt last year. He just had the terrible offensive line.
Well, this is what SpotRight gives for an estimation. 1 year, $4.3 million a year. So I'm on the general. I've doubled that.
That's amazing.
What do you think he's worth? You gonna give him $12 million a year?
I would think maybe 10. I would think he'd get 10.
10 million. I said 8. That's not
I agree with 2 years. But I would think he might get 10 million. Maybe I'm wrong, I guess.
Yeah, he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
30. Now, other running backs to the open market, like Josh Jacobs, SpotRack has him at 10.6. Saquon Barkley have him at 9.9.
Yeah. Well, that's cheapened the franchise tag. So
It
maybe
is
I'm
cheaper.
right about that on the Giants.
They may sign him, and the market value contract that they broke down was 3 years, basically $30 million a year. So 3-year deal, you bring him up to 30 years old. So there you go.
$30 million a year?
Yeah, 3 years.
10
years.
million a year.
Yeah, so it's 29.9. So
Okay.
that's
for
where
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
It's not $30 million a year. It's $30 million
I'm
for
sorry.
3
Yeah,
years.
yeah, I'm sorry. So that makes sense for a 27-year-old running back. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Saquon Barkley potentially hitting the open market. It's going to be bad for the Giants if they actually let that happen. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.